Welcome back into the Rounding Third podcast, episode 195. I'm a starter. I won't pitch in the bullpen. I'm a starter. I'm Nick. We have Harrison. How are we doing tonight, Harrison?
I feel like that headline is a lie, but we'll get into that later. I'm fantastic, Nick. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. Can't complain at all. We're here talking baseball like we do every Sunday night, so loving it.
Yeah. For those of you in the Northeast like me, you're getting pounded with snow today, so it's nice to talk about the warm weather and baseball that's coming.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it was warm here, but it was still like 50-mile-an-hour winds. Like it was crazy gusty down here today, but
That'll do it.
all right. Before we get going, make sure you follow and like us on Facebook. You can follow on Instagram, Rumble, and TikTok. You can also subscribe on YouTube, listen on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcast. Please also share with a friend as whatever social media platform you're following us on. Just share away. We would love it. So
sharing is caring.
Absolutely. Thanks in advance. Also, our affiliate links with our affiliate sponsors, Dick's Sporting Goods, MLB Shop, and Lids. We have links on our social media pages. You can just click on these links, shop with these companies, and we get a nice little kickback for whatever you buy at no additional cost to you. So please, it's just a great way to support us, support these companies, and just furthers our relationship with these sponsors.
Yeah, and they're running a crazy 40% off President's Day weekend sale right now at MLBshop.com. So I know I'm going to go check it out. I'm sure some of you will be checking it out too.
If I did, my wife would probably kill me. So moving on. All right, Rounding Third merch. Again, you can find this at the top of all of our social media pages as well. Sweatshirts, t-shirts, hats, cups, and more. It's just a great way to support us. And we finally have Rounding Third merch, which was suggested by our followers. So Harrison and I sat down and put this together for y'all. So thanks for your support in advance. We've already had orders flying in, so we really appreciate the support. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks to those that have ordered, especially appreciate you getting in early on the ground floor of Rounding Third merch. Market's going to be hot.
Absolutely. All right, diving right into some baseball. Let's start with Marcus Stroman, reportedly holding out on spring training because he doesn't want to pitch out of the bullpen. Now, there is like a 2-week window before he has to. It's like a mandated date. I can't remember exactly where it is, where it's like the last possible day you have to report to spring training. And he's holding out until then. Like he showed up to spring training, took his physical.
He actually showed up today.
Oh, did he show up today?
Okay. Yeah, he actually showed up to camp and he was practicing in shorts to make a statement.
No.
He cut his baseball pants off into shorts, and he's the only guy out there that didn't have pants on. That's where we're at with Marcus Stroman.
Anyways, yeah. So he is visibly upset that he's pitching out of the bullpen. Does he have a right to be upset? Or, I mean, he's an employee of the New York Yankees. Right? You are property of the New York Yankees. When you sign your name on that line, you're telling them that, hey, I'm working for you and you tell me what my job is. And if it's coming out of the bullpen, it's coming out of the bullpen. Does he have any leg to stand on and to say, I'm not going to pitch if I'm going to be in the bullpen?
I mean, he can do whatever he wants. That's the beauty of this game and the contracts they have is he can do whatever he wants. Does he have a leg to stand on? Absolutely not. I mean, Marcus Stroman is a career 87 and 85 pitcher with a 3.72 ERA. He was 10-9 last year with a 4.31 ERA. He made 29 starts for the Yankees. And the Yankees are deciding that they like Clark Schmidt more than Marcus Stroman. For good reason. Clark Schmidt has shown a lot of upside. Marcus Stroman is who he is. You know, does he have a compelling argument to say he deserves to be a starter? No, he doesn't, because he really has yet to prove that he is a truly effective starting pitcher in this league. He had the one season in 2021 with the Mets where he was 10-13 with a 3.02 ERA and made 33 starts, and the team was bad. And And then he had another season in 2019 where he was again 10-13 with a 3.22 ERA, made 32 starts. Outside of that, he's not been a great pitcher. Once he
No.
in Toronto, he was good. He's always been about an average pitcher. This is a guy who's a career 22 WAR in 10 seasons, so he's above replacement, but he's not a stud. He's a middle of the rotation guy, who's not been effective in 4 years.
And whose spot in that rotation does he take? I'm not taking any of those 5 over Marcus Stroman at this moment. There's no way.
No, the Yankees are making the decision they like Clark Schmidt more than him. Now, Marcus Stroman last year, 10-9, 4.31 ERA. He's a decent 5-starter, but they like Clark Schmidt better. And the Yankees it's their prerogative to set the rotation the way they want it to. Now, Stroman can just refuse to take the demotion of the bullpen, in which case the only other options the Yankees have are to sit him, send him down, get him through waivers and send him down to the minors, which good luck with that, or trade him. And Marcus Stroman is doing everything he possibly can in his power to force their hand to trade him. The only problem is the Yankees have been doing that for months and nobody wants him.
Yeah. I think it's crazy that like the bullpen's considered a demotion. Like I get that you're a starting pitcher and you're used to starting every game, but like, oh, okay, you're gonna pay me the same amount of money and I have to work less. Like, okay, sign me up.
Yeah.
Like I just don't. You're still on the MLB roster, man. Like that's not a demotion. A demotion is when we send your ass back down to AAA. That's a demotion,
Right?
Like I hate that they say that the bullpen is a demotion from the starting pitching. It's like no, like you're not working out in the starting rotation, but we're trying to find a place where you can still help this team. If not, dude, then we'll just cut you. If we don't think you can help this team, we're going to cut you. But we think you are more valuable in the bullpen. And he's not taking it that way. I mean,
no, he still views that he is a starter, and good for him, and I'm sure there's a number of teams he would be a starter on. The problem is the team he's on, he's not a starter on anymore.
No.
They added Max Fried, which impacts him, and they're choosing Clark Schmidt over him. They like Clark Schmidt better. Granted, it's early. Things can happen in spring. Who knows? But to your point, like you've got Fried and Cole and Rodon and Schmidt. Like you're full. Like you've got the people that you need.
Heel, right? Luis Heel.
Luis Heel in the 4 spot. You've got 5 starters. Stroman is not one of them as it stands right now. So they're going to have to move him. And the problem is by him trying to force their hand and making those statements, he's driving his price down too.
Right.
So now the Yankees are going to have to take less because they know that the whole world now knows they've got no leverage. Yeah. He's basically saying, start me or I'm not going to pitch.
Yeah.
So the whole league is like, well, great. Then we'll just take him for free because you've got no leverage because we know this guy isn't going to pitch for you and you don't want to use him.
No. Yeah. So
this guy hasn't been that effective since before COVID.
No, I don't want a 5 or sub 500 pitcher. I mean, 10-13. There's no way. And he had a 3.14 and he was still 10-13. I know that's definitely like a team stat. We've talked about wins and losses being a team stat versus pitching, but
yeah, I mean
he had a what? He had a north of a 4 ERA last year.
Yeah, it was 4.31 last year, 10-9.
Yeah, not good enough. Not good enough.
I mean, literally, he had a good season in 21, a good season in 19, and a good season in 17. Otherwise, he's been an league average pitcher.
Yeah,
for most of his career.
And we agree with you here. They're going to move him quickly
and
for
cheaply.
Sure, and cheaply. Yeah,
he just took all their leverage away.
And I don't think the Yankees want this in their clubhouse. Like,
no,
you don't want a guy that is barking this loudly or making statements like this all year long, just continually at the media being like, I should be a starter. I should be out there, just causing a ruckus all year. That's the reason Trevor Bauer still doesn't have a job. Is this type of action here is being outspoken and vocal. But yeah, the Yankees have to move him at this point. he's cutting off his baseball pants and showing up his shorts. That's crazy.
Yeah, it looks like he might have rolled him, but either way, I'll send a link here if the New York Post actually shows a picture of him practicing. He was actually there he showed up on Friday for a little while, and then was kind of MIA a little bit. Then he was back. But yeah, I mean, he is going to make himself as undesirable as possible to get sent out of there and take the Yankees leverage away so they don't get anything in return, just because he's spiteful about where he's at. But if I'm Marcus Stroman, you need to take a nice long look in the mirror and find out who put you in that spot. You did, because you didn't pitch very well.
Right.
And then you showed up late. Then you showed up late with this big attitude, all this drama. And if we learn anything about the Yankees, the Yankee way is very much team first, player second. It's been that way since George bought him back in the 70s.
Yeah.
I mean, Devin Williams shaved. He got right in line with the Yankees code. And Stroman will not be accepted with the antics.
Yeah. I mean, the initial reports came like he showed up, took his physical, and then immediately left and was gonna, hold out until that last mandatory day before, they have to report. But I guess he's there with shorts on or capris or whatever. But,
yeah, whatever. I mean, they're definitely above the knee. It looks like he either rolled or cut the pants. But and then I will say today it was floated to Aaron Boone. Would you consider a 6-man rotation? And Boone said, sure, if it makes sense.
right.
But we've got to see where the guys are at. We've got to see the condition of all of our guys coming out of spring training. We've got to bounce that up against the schedule and just get comfortable with where we're at. And he goes, but typically early in the season, there's extra off days built in. So there's no real need to stack an extra starter in there.
Right. Red Sox 2026 champs. All right. Not 2025. I see how it is. That's fine.
Yeah. 2025 might be a little early for the Sox, but I like the 2026 prediction.
Yeah.
But I think that, Aaron Boone said what he could. They're not going to commit to a 6-man rotation. There probably isn't a need for one, but they're not going to rule anything out. But you're also not going to go to a 6-man rotation to keep Marcus Stroman happy. That'd be insane.
You're also if you're Marcus Stroman, you're one injury away from getting your 23 starts a year.
Oh yeah.
Those guys aren't going to hold up a full 162. You're going to have your opportunity to start.
Yep.
If you go out, you get your opportunity to start, you have to perform. You can't go up there and lay an egg, dude. That's baseball.
You've got Max Fried has got injury history. Garrett Cole, they're saying he's healthy this spring for the first time in probably a couple of seasons. That he's really 100%. You've got Rodon, who's got a well-documented history of injuries with the Yankees in the last couple of years. The dude has missed a ton of games. There's probably a spot for him, and he probably could get, to your point, 20 plus starts.
Yeah.
But to come in on day one, and the article that I put in there, 11 times in 10 minutes, he made the comment, "I am a starter." Clearly you're getting that point across that you're a starter, and heard you loud and clear. But the problem is on this team, you're not.
Yeah.
So you can either get in line and be part of it or get out. And I think he's opting to get out. The problem is there's no market for him currently. And with what he's said lately, there's no leverage for the Yankees. They're going to just have to dump this guy, take it, send him away for a bag of balls, which I'm sure they're okay with. But the question becomes, where does he go?
Even if you DFA him at this point, I don't know if any other team picks him up, to be completely honest.
Yeah,
Again, they don't want that on their team. When you show your ass like that, teams are all looking at that. I mean, if we see it, the other 29 teams in the leagues are definitely seeing that and taking notes.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, we don't need that in our clubhouse, in our atmosphere. We're not trying to build that. So
no, and you don't want to bring a headache in. You don't need a sideshow. You don't need a headache. You don't need a distraction. You need a guy who's going to pitch.
Yeah.
The problem is, over the last handful of years, he really hasn't been that good.
I mean, if the Yankees really wanted to do this, just send him to the White Sox or Marlins and just be like, dude, just stop. Here you go.
Yeah, you want to go somewhere and start? There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's only got 1 year left. He's got an $18.3 million salary this year. So He does have a vesting option for next year, which I think some teams may look at and go, "Oh crap, how do we make sure we avoid that?" And then he's unrestricted free agent in 2027. But the player option, the 2026 option kicks in if he throws 140 innings in 2025. So it turns into a 3-year deal.
So that's why he wants to be a starter.
Yep. So yeah, so
That's
if he hits
because of the money.
140 innings in 2025, the 2026 option vests, he gets another year at 18.5 million.
So there's the issue.
So he needs the innings.
Yes. So that's why. So again, it all comes down to money, right?
Yep.
So he's thinking about that. If I'm in the bullpen, there's no way I'm getting 140 innings. I have to start in order to get my 140 innings.
Yeah, and even then, I mean, 140 innings is not a layup. I mean, for him, there's no reason if he's healthy he shouldn't get 140 innings. But in 2022 he made 25 starts and threw 138. 2023 he made 25 starts through 136. Last year he threw 154. I mean, he could be a starter and still not get to 140. But his options are a whole lot better if he does.
Yep. 1,000.
And that's also going to make him harder to trade because some of the team's going to have to inherit that option and they may not want him a second year.
Right.
So it's going to be interesting. What the Yankees are going to have to dump him. They're going to have to dump him cheap. They're probably going to have to eat a lot of that money just to make him go away. But at that point, you just make him go away, or you vest his option and put him in the bullpen. Just say, look, we're going to take that off the table, but you clearly don't want him, so you have to move him out.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Your boy Cole Ragans signs 3-year extension. So $1.25 million for 2025, $4.5 million for 2026, jumps up to $7.5 million in 2027. Another smart signing / extension by the Royals after extending Bobby Witt to keep 2 cornerstone guys in that Royals franchise. How are you feeling about this extension?
I love it. I mean, you bought out his last pre-arbitration year and 2 of his 3 arbitration years. So keep in mind, he's still arbitration eligible when this contract ends in 2028. And then he has a $500,000 incentive if he wins the Cy Young in 25 or 26 to his 27 salary. So like this is such a good deal for him because he's going to get so much more money up front. It's a good deal for the Royals because they're going to retain him for cheap relative to market value. You still have an arbitration year after this, so you still have 1 more year of control anyways. And if the kid pitches like you think he's going to, you got another chance to talk extension with him. You're going to get him some money. This is such a great deal all around. And again, it is the Royals being creative like they have to be.
Yeah.
They can't, they couldn't afford Bobby Witt on the open market. But they signed him early. Cole Ragans, you're not going to be able to afford him if you get to the open market. So you're going to give him some of that up front to get ahead of it. It's a very team-friendly deal. It's a very player-friendly deal. And it gives them a nice big window of time to continue to let him develop and then leading him to the long-term deal that I think they're all hoping happens.
Yeah.
But he is a stud, an absolute certified stud.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're Cole Ragans, you get to play 3 more years with Bobby Witt Jr. Like, I mean, why wouldn't you want to stay in KC at this point? Like, you're comfortable here. You're competing. You're only going to get better.
Yeah, an organization on the climb. I mean, and this is a guy who was kind of on the scrap heap in Texas that Kansas City grabbed, turned into a starter. He really flourished. He looked great in 23 when he finally fully converted. And then he was so good last year, 11-9, 3.14 ERA, he made 32 starts, pitched 186 innings. He's a workhorse, 223 Ks, just nasty from the left side.
Yeah.
But he is the kind of guy you can build around for sure.
1,000%. And like I said, like it's just another piece that the Royals have that will attract free agents eventually, right? People will want to go play with Bobby Witt and Cole Ragans and be part of that that Royals organization because they're going to win. Or if they're not going to win, they're going to compete. these next few years. Like they're going to be there. They're close. They still need a couple pieces, but they're there. Do we think the Royals win the Central? Harrison's probably going to pick them.
Yes. The answer to that question is yes. I think they're going to be the only team in the Central to make the playoffs this year.
That's fair. Yeah, I guess I would take the Royals too. I think the Guardians have kind of taken a step back with a loss of Naylor. Don't know what you're going to get with Shane Bieber.
Yeah, Santana's a good replacement, but he's not Naylor.
He's not Naylor. The Twins can't stay on the field. They can't.
They'll still be good, but they're going to be a mess like they were last year, where they just like fell apart.
Yeah, and it's the Tigers. The Tigers are a big question mark to me. Was last year a fluke? Was it just they got hot and you can't stop a hot baseball team sometimes? I think that's kind of the way I'm leaning with the Tigers. So I think the Royals are the favorite to win the Central for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly feel like they're the favorite. I feel like there could be a second AL Central team. That's if the Red Sox or Orioles do not have a good season like we think they will. But I could see this being a one team in the AL Central year, and it's going to be the winner. And I think that's KC.
Yeah. See, so I'm sort of on the same page with you here, James. Like, I like Vinny Pasquantino, but I just don't think he's quite the stick to back up Bobby Witt Jr. I think that's kind of the only question mark I have with him. Now, granted, he has been hurt on and off, if I'm not mistaken.
No, you're not mistaken.
That's part of it. But I don't think he's quite the guy you want backing up Bobby Witt Jr. I think you got to find another stick to protect Bobby Witt there.
Yeah, I think in a perfect world, I think you would have added another bat. I will say I think that Jonathan India does change the top of that lineup a little bit and should give some more flexibility and have more guys on base, assuming he's healthy again. Another one of those if he's healthy situations. But Pasquatch last year, 131 games, hit 262, 19, and 97. I mean, he projects as a 25 and 100 guy.
Yeah. Yeah, he needs a tennis racket.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, 262 average, almost 20 bombs in 130 games. He doesn't strike out a lot. Pasquantino is not your typical like middle of the order thumper. He's more of like a 5-hitter. He's that kind of guy who comes in and cleans up what gets left behind. Is he potentially out of place in that lineup? Yeah, I think so. But at the same time, he has been so good for them when they've needed him. He's driven in so many big runs for them. Is he the right guy behind Bobby Witt? Maybe not, but he's still a pretty damn effective guy hitting behind Witt.
Yeah. 85 to 90 wins might be all you need to win that division. I agree.
Yeah, the only thing I'll say is last year we thought that too. And then the friggin' Guardians surprised us all.
The three teams made it out of the Central, and I was like, it wouldn't be surprised if no teams make it out of the Central last year. That's not like our preseason prediction for that whole division last year was just shot to hell.
Yeah, I mean the Guardians were the second best team in the American League with 92 wins. I mean, I don't think anybody saw a 90 win team in the Central, and then all of a sudden the Guardians paced the American League for most of the season.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the Guardians are still going to be good. I think the Royals are better. I think the Tigers are a bit fluky, and the Twins are still they're flip a coin. Who are they going to be today? Oh, if the Royals got Kyle Tucker, it was friggin' game over in the Central for a long time. I mean, I really had hoped that the Royals would get a guy like. I mean, I would have loved to have seen Tucker. I thought Teoscar Hernandez was the guy they might go after to offset Pasquantino. I thought a guy like Santander might be a guy they'd go after because then you can go switch hitter, big power, move Pasquantino down the lineup a little bit. They just couldn't pull those deals off. I believe they're in on Santander and Teoscar for a little while. I don't think they made it long with them. I mean, I would have liked to have seen KC add another bat. I think Indy at the top is going to help. I think Bobby Witt is a stud. Pasquatch is good. It'd be nice to have one more power bat in that lineup. Would make me feel really good.
Yeah, and you're right. I think Jose Ramirez definitely
Oh,
is one of the most underrated, if not the most
yeah.
underrated player in the MLB right now. What that guy does night in and night out is unbelievable, and he definitely carries a lot of that team on his back.
Even if not underrated anymore, he's still underappreciated. I just don't think people
Yeah,
understand what he does for that team.
yeah, or baseball in general.
Oh yeah,
He's
or
a
baseball in
beast.
general. I mean,
He's
fair,
a beast. He's a beast.
fair.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, yeah, last year we were like, I took the Twins because I'm like, it seems like the Twins win the Central every year. Last year they didn't. You couldn't have told me last year that 3 teams from the AL Central made the playoffs, and one of them wasn't the Twins. I would have laughed you off the stage. I was like, "There's no way." But yeah, so the Royals got Jonathan India. They sent Brady Singer to the Reds. They
Yeah,
got India and Joey Weimer, right? I think
yeah,
from the Reds for Brady Singer. So Brady
yep.
Singer's now on the Reds. That happened before Christmas, right?
Yeah, that was before Christmas. That was one of the earlier moves
Yeah,
that kind of caught everybody off guard. But then when you broke it down, it made a lot of sense.
yeah.
I would feel. I don't disagree about Pascantino. I would feel a lot better about Pascantino if you had a Salvador Perez that wasn't almost 40. So, I mean, when does Salvi Perez stop doing what he does? That's what scares me because he is still your primary thumper, and he's not getting any younger.
No, but he's still putting up 35 bombs a year, though. I mean, like,
He's a machine. He's a machine, but that's going to stop at some point.
yeah, I
I don't.
agree.
I don't. I mean, I still think Salvi's got a couple more good seasons in him. He's 30. I said, he's coming up on 40. He's 35 years old.
Yeah,
But in catcher years, that's like 50.
yeah, right. 75.
But I mean,
Yeah,
still, 27 to 104 last year, 271. I mean, you put he and Pasquantino back to back. That's 50 home runs between the two of them. 50
yeah,
and 50 and probably 225.
yeah,
That's not a bad 1-2 punch. Is it the best you have? No, but it's pretty good.
yeah. All right. Not a big move here, but Kendall Graveman signs a 1-year deal. Much needed arm for the Diamondbacks here in the bullpen. He was traded to Houston from the White Sox last year, 3.12 ERA with 66 innings between the two teams. Again, not a huge needle mover here for the Diamondbacks, but they've needed help in the bullpen. Almost kind of like what the Red Sox could have signed, but that's neither here or there.
That's
But
when I saw Graveman sign, my mind went to immediately like, was Breslow not calling him? Like, how is that guy just sitting out there waiting for a job?
yeah, so I mean, the Diamondbacks losing Paul Sewald. This was definitely a move that they needed for sure. But
Yeah, I mean, good for the Diamondbacks to keep building out that bullpen because they had a hell of a struggle last year. That team scored the most runs in baseball and missed the playoffs, mostly because that bullpen really friggin' let them down. Really let
yeah,
them down.
I mean, that team is the ultimate feast or famine. And I'm talking
Oh
like
yeah,
they will score. I mean, we saw opening day last year. They put up, what was it, a 16 spot
oh
against the Rockies, but then they didn't score the rest of the game. That's what
no,
the Diamondbacks do. There's one inning that they put up 6 or 7 runs and then they're done for the game.
yeah. The
And it's
Diamondbacks
like,
don't. They score in bunches. They don't score like throughout. They score in bunches. Like
it's
it's a
wild.
4-0 game, and all of a sudden the inning's over, and it's 8-4 them, and you're like, what just happened?
Yeah, it's wild.
And
I
then they
mean,
lose the game 9-8.
yeah,
It's like
yeah,
it was a weird season, and
yeah.
bullpen arms are so important to them.
Yeah, and that rotation is going to be near the top. If everybody goes out and pitches like they can, if Merrill Kelly comes back healthy, you got Burns, Gallen, Kelly, Brandon Fott. I mean, goodness gracious.
Don't
They're
forget
going to
Jordan
be decent.
Montgomery.
Jordan Montgomery, and you got Eddie Rodriguez
You
still
do.
sitting there. So
You got 6 starters. I mean,
yeah,
and legitimate major league starters. I mean, Jordan Montgomery will not be as bad as he was last year. That won't happen again.
no. I love what Brandon Pfaadt has. If you haven't watched
Yeah.
Brandon Pfaadt pitch yet, you need to tune into a start. He's got good stuff. When he's on, he is electric to watch.
Yeah. I
But
feel like every time I watch a D-backs game, he was pitching last year, and he is very talented and very
yes,
fun to watch
yeah,
and just pounds the zone.
yeah, yeah. So we're with you. We were on the Texas Rangers train last year for sure. Um, they just had way too many injuries. I mean, they all got hurt. Just couldn't put it together. I mean, that
Yeah.
was the first season in a while that Simeon didn't play all 162, I believe.
Evan Carter was my rookie of the year pick, and he played 45 games. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, Evan Carter was out most of the year. Wyatt Langford had a slow start and came on really strong. No DeGrom, no Scherzer.
Josh
I mean,
Young.
yeah, Josh is right. Josh Young. I mean, you had so many guys go down for parts of the season, big parts of the season too.
Yeah. So I think if the Rangers are healthy and back
Yeah.
100%, they roll through that AL West. I don't even think it's a
No.
contest if they're healthy. But it they can't. So it makes the AL West a toss up for me. So, and the Mariners arguably have one of the best rotations, if not the best rotation in baseball, but they can't hit. The Oakland A's are the Oakland A's. The Angels have made some moves. We don't really know what that's going to look like. I think the AL West could be wide open. I mean, the Astros have not gotten better. They've not gotten worse, I guess. That question mark. I don't know who the Astros are at this moment. I would say
I
they
don't think
have
they know who
got
they are at this moment either.
no, because at times it's like, oh, they're buying, they're competing, and then they're like, oh, well, let's trade Kyle Tucker. It's like, okay, well, let's sign Christian Walker. Well, okay, what are they doing? We don't know.
Yeah.
What could you attribute to their injuries, Whataburger? Well, listen, I finally had a Whataburger when I went down there last April, and I would say that's probably why they have artery blockage and stuff. But yeah, probably not the best nutritional meal you can get. But anyways, I don't know. If the Rangers can stay healthy, I think it's their division to lose
Yeah. And
or win.
to
To
go
win,
back to the injury thing, like you had DeGrom obviously coming off Tommy John. You had Scherzer who had all kinds of things going on with him. He had a shoulder at one point, something with his back. Evan Carter was a back. He had an ablation procedure or whatever for lingering back issues. Like they had all kinds of like weird injuries. The DeGrom's makes sense. Tommy John, that's arm, but everything else was just like weird injuries.
yeah,
Not like necessarily baseball moves and things like that, but just stuff that crept up on him. I don't. That's one of those seasons I think you kind of chalk up to just things caught up all at the same time. But I don't think you see a season like that again this year. I think you're going to see a lot of those guys. You're going to see a guy like Evan Carter who's through all that stuff. Like you're going to see a lot of these guys play more of a full season like you'd expect than the weird fragments you got last year because that's not typical. Those were weird, kind of fluky injuries.
yeah. But I mean, losing Scherzer out of that rotation, I mean, you are getting DeGrom back. It will be interesting to see how that rotation is going forward. And how much DeGrom pitches before he gets hurt again. Listen, I don't want him to,
Yeah.
but it's inevitable, right? I
Yep.
mean, and just blonde kid that was tall with a blonde mullet.
The power and the
Not
blonde
sure.
mullet.
I don't know.
And there's nobody jumping out at me.
There's Jankowski, but he's not tall, and I wouldn't say he's a power guy. I don't know. Why am I drawing a
Yeah,
blank?
I'm not thinking of anybody that matches that description, but like John Gray's got the long hair, but he's a pitcher.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's see.
Jonah Heim's not long hair. He's pretty clean cut. Josh Young's clean cut. Yeah, I'm not sure who that is. All the outfielders are pretty well clean cut.
Yeah. But
I'm
I
not
mean,
sure.
with the addition of Berger and Jock Peterson's going to give you some pop. I think they're going to be
I
pretty decent.
I like the addition of Jock Peterson. He is seems like he's a good utility guy, good clubhouse guy, well liked, veteran presence. I think it's good. I think it's going to be a good move for them.
Yeah. So, all right. MLB Network released the top 100 players of going into 2025. Now, instead of sitting here and breaking down the whole 100, I just put who they have as the highest rated player at each position. So, Yordan Alvarez in left, Julio Rodriguez in center, Aaron Judge in right, J Ram at third, Bobby Witt at short, Ketel Marte at second, Freddie Freeman at first, William Contreras behind the dish, and they have Tarek Skubal as the best pitcher in the game right now, with obviously Shohei Ohtani as the DH. Do you believe they have the best player ranked at each position here?
No. I mean, and I guess it depends on how you're rating it. So I'll pick on Skubal. The guy was absolutely electric and lights out last year, but he was a replacement level player for the 4 years prior to that. It's like if you're going off of last year being his new baseline, then yeah, I think he's might be the best pitcher in baseball. If you're looking at the body of work, though, no. I'd like
Which
to
I
see it
don't
again
think.
before I anoint him as the best pitcher in baseball. But
Yeah.
so like I look at that one. I think Jordan Alvarez. I mean, he's a DH. Let's be serious. Can he play the outfield? Sure, but he's a DH. J
Yeah.
Rod. I don't have much argument because Trout's not healthy. That it's J Rod. Aaron Judge, not much argument. J Ram, Bobby Witt, Ketel, not much argument. First base, I kind of go, is it Freddie? I mean, Freddie's the best all around, I think, but like Vladimir Guerrero is a significantly better offensive player than him.
You think
But it's,
significantly better?
I think, significantly better.
I don't know if he's significantly better. Maybe
Well,
it's
he's
just
better.
semantics there,
I
but
think Guerrero's the better offensive first baseman. I think Freddie's the best all around. Average power defense. So I think
okay.
it's probably fair to give it to Freddie, but I don't know how much longer Freddie stays there. And then Shohei. So I don't have any real legitimate beefs with this. Do I think they nailed it? No. I think there's definitely some debate to be had, but I'm not mad about it. Like there's nobody on this list I go that, geez, they don't belong.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all right, 2024, which is, if Scubal's the best overall pitcher, that's what they're going on, right?
Yep.
Freddie had a 4.7 WAR to Guerrero's 6.2.
Yep.
Guerrero hit 323 last year with 30 home runs, 103. Freddie was 22 and 89 with a 282 batting average. So
in a lineup that's loaded.
So I take what I said back. Maybe he what at least last year was significantly better. If they're going by last year, but for me, like with the Freddie Freeman pick, it's almost like they're going the other way with it. It's the entire body of work, because then I probably would lean Freeman.
Yeah, if you told me right now, pick a first baseman to start a team with, I'm taking Vladdy. I'm not taking Freddie. As much I love Freddie, don't get me wrong. Freddie is one of my favorite players, just an all around great dude. But if I'm starting a team tomorrow, and I've got to pick a first baseman, I'm taking Vladdy over Freddie Freeman every single time.
Yeah, this is interesting. Skeens over Skubal. I mean, kind of hard not to argue with that right now. He was definitely near the top. I don't know exactly what number he is. I was just going to throw a number out there and say it, but I think he did crack the top 20, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm pretty sure. I'll pull up the list and just see where they ended up. But
Gunnar Henderson over Ketel Marte at second. Henderson's a shortstop, so that's why he's underneath Bobby Witt.
Yeah, they didn't move guys out of their natural position.
Yeah. And
because I would argue that if you could move Gunnar, then yeah, maybe you take him over Ketel Marte. But when it comes to second baseman, Ketel Marte is so good.
Dude, I love Gunnar Henderson, but don't be messing with my Ketel Marte.
Yeah,
I,
Paul Skeens was
I
number 15 on the list, Nick.
okay, yeah, thought so. Ketel Marte's season last year was ridiculous. 36 bombs, 95 RBIs, 292. I mean, yeah, Gunnar had a great year too, but Ketel Marte is the J Ram of the National League. He is so underappreciated,
Yep.
being kind of hidden down there in Arizona. And yes, I'm biased. Arizona's my second team. I tune into almost every single game that they play. Ketel Marte is my favorite player to watch in baseball right now, and it's honestly, it's not even close. How this guy plays the game, I absolutely love, and a big reason why I started watching the Diamondbacks. But yeah, I mean, I think I can't really think of another left fielder that I would pick over Jordan Alvarez, but it is weird to put him in an outfield spot. It's almost like they just put him in
It just
there.
feels strange. It just
Yeah,
does.
it's almost like they just threw him in there because they're like, well, he should be on the list somewhere, but we can't squeeze him, and well, we can't think of another left fielder, so let's put him out there.
Well, and the hard part too is like when you go down the list of how they classified players too, like there's some that I'm like, really? Like you called Mookie Betts a shortstop. Um,
Yeah,
which I mean, he's been a shortstop for like what, 50 games? Is he I mean, is he really a shortstop? You got Gunnar Henderson listed as a third baseman. Um, which is
weird.
also weird. You have um your next left fielder on the list is Jaron Duran, who's a center fielder. I just the way they classified some of the positions makes no sense to me because really the next left fielder you come to in the list is Jaron Duran. After him is Churio.
Huh.
I yeah, I just it's I don't get it. I don't get it. It doesn't matter, but I don't get it.
Yeah. Can Acuna be the same after all the knee stuff? It's a great question because this is his second one.
Yeah, and he
So
came
even
out.
if he fully recovers from this one, who says it? I mean, I don't want it to happen again,
No, goodness gracious, no.
but it could. I mean, it's already his second tear, so who knows?
Well, and he came out and said, was it yesterday that he's at 90 to 95%? Like he's still got to take it easy. He's not ready for a full speed yet. And a lot of spring training is going to be him figuring out like how much he can handle. So I think out of the gate, you're looking at an Acuna who's likely limited, at least for the first half of the season, in terms of what he can do and how much he plays. And how long does that last? Is that the first half of the season, the whole season? Is that his future? Like, are they gonna have to start to load manage him? Treat him like a Trout and find a way to back off the innings. And I just, if you take his legs away, his game is very different.
Yeah, and MLB is better and more fun to watch when Acuna is healthy and in there because that dude is an animal.
Oh, he is like just electricity.
Yeah. So I don't know. To answer your question, can he be the same? Like I sure hope so. For baseball fans everywhere's sake, I hope he can be. I hope that whole Braves team can be.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about a team that was injured last year. We just talked about the Rangers. That whole Braves team somehow still stumbled into the playoffs, like all with casts and crutches, like literally hobbling into the playoffs there.
Yeah. With Acuna, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that can he be the same after all the knee stuff? Maybe, but he won't be. And I think that's because the Braves are going to manage him differently going forward. A second big knee injury is a reason to change what you do.
That's
And I
fair.
don't think you'll see the same Acuna going forward. The Braves are not going to take the leash off and let him go crazy. They are going to have to rein him in.
That's fair. That's completely fair.
So even if you could see the same Acuna, I just don't think you will.
Yeah.
And it's in the Braves' best interest as an investment not to.
Yeah, 1,000%. All right. We are going to finally, since Alex Bregman signed, recap our free agent guesses. We just to let you know, as soon as the World Series ended, our next episode, Harrison and I threw these predictions out. So I won last year 6-4. This year, Harrison wins 6-4. So these are all Harrison's correct answers. He got Adames to the Giants, Santander to the Blue Jays, Minaya back to the Mets, Nick Martinez back to the Reds, Evaldi back to the Rangers, Kershaw back to the Dodgers.
I lost last year because I picked Kershaw to retire, and he went back to the Dodgers because that's what you picked. And I was like, I'm not going to let Clayton Kershaw cost me this again.
Yeah. And then I ended up I picked up Adames. Me and Harrison had we were like the Giants. It's a slam dunk.
It's
like
the biggest no-brainer in baseball.
Yeah. They wanted to sign a free agent, wicked bad for however many years. And I was like, they need a shortstop. Ever since Brandon Crawford left, they needed one. So they're like, Adames is going to the Giants. No questions asked. Yep. And sure enough, bang. I got Juan Soto to the Mets. My reasoning was just Cohen wasn't going to get outbid.
Yep.
And then Teoscar back to the Dodgers. I just felt they won the World Series, and he was going to find his way back there, and he fit well in that lineup. And then, honestly, the Walker Buehler pick was a complete homer pick, and I got lucky. So that's how I came up with my list. But
yeah, I thought when you made that choice was wishful thinking, but when he signed there, I was like, wow, okay.
Yeah. But yeah,
it's fun. I mean, we're just literally like looking at where they fit best, taking a wild guess before, because of course this gets influenced by all the guys that signed before, all the trades that are made. It's just the two of us looking at the list going, yeah, I think he goes there. I think he goes there. It's fun as hell, but
so we still do have one floating around, which is Alex Verdugo. We did make a prediction on him.
Oh, right.
I picked him to go to the Astros. Harrison picked him to go to the Mariners. And the last thing I read was both teams are in on him. So
yep,
we could see what happens with there if he even signs. Like, he's not even convinced he's going to have a job, which is crazy. But
yeah, he was on a podcast a couple weeks ago, and they were asking him about it. He's like, I don't know. I don't know if there's a spot for me or not.
Crazy.
It is. I mean, because he was really good with the Red Sox. He was a key member of that team, and the fall off for him was just so fast.
Yeah, he would be one of the best hitters on the Mariners if he went there. No questions asked.
Well, and honestly, like I picked him to the Mariners because he's a guy who doesn't strike out a lot. He gets into deep counts, a lot of contact. It's what they don't have.
Right.
It makes too much sense to grab, and you can get him for cheap. He'll be dirt cheap.
Yeah, he'll almost sign for league minimum at this point if he doesn't have a job going into spring training.
He literally said a month ago, like, I'm looking for a 1-year prove it deal. Like, I'm willing to go somewhere and show you that I can still play.
Yeah. Crazy.
So, I mean, the fact that nobody's picked him up yet is astonishing.
Yeah. The market's just weird. I don't, it's hard to predict where these guys are going to go with the market being like it has the last 2 off seasons. But
yeah, the market is definitely weird. I think people still aren't sure exactly what his health is because he had like the batting glove allergy and like all kinds of other weird stuff.
Yeah.
So I think there's still a lot of question marks with him, but he'll be cheap and he'll come in and play hard. I mean, he was, as a Red Sox fan, like I was sad to see him leave because I really liked him. He was a grinded out kind of guy. He'd be good for somebody, especially a team like the Mariners who desperately need any offense.
Yeah. This is a good one. This is a good question. I don't know. Top rookies for this year. Honestly, I'm going to be honest. I haven't looked a ton into it yet because our season predictions are coming up soon.
Yeah, I mean, I think the obvious one is Jason Dominguez.
Yeah.
I think he's the obvious one. I think we know a lot about him. The Red Sox have 3. I'm not sure which one of them makes the team and who's got the biggest impact there, if anything. One guy I'm really looking forward to seeing is Dylan Cruz.
Yep.
I think we're going to see him early. And
he was up at the end of last year, wasn't he?
He was. I think he's going to come out of spring training with that team.
Yeah.
He is so good.
Yeah. And I think that, since they're moving on from Verdugo, I think Dominguez is a starter. He's going to be there.
Yeah. I mean, he is penciled in right now as the left fielder.
Yep.
But yeah, I really like Dylan Cruz in the National League.
A full season of Kumar Rocker. Forgot that he's going to be coming up with the Rangers in there. Yeah, I think I'm with you with Dylan Cruz. I think I can dabble with that for sure.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of other guys. You know, the Jacob Wilson with the A's. You've got Matt Shaw with the Cubs. And honestly, like there's many people in Chicago that are happy the Cubs didn't get Bregman because they want to see Shaw. So I don't know. I think there's a good crop of young players coming up. In the next few weeks, we'll be able to take a really good look at it. We'll have a better sense who's going to make these teams. But I think you pair up James Wood. I mean, was it 2 weeks ago? I think he was one of my guys who was like a breakout guy. I love James Wood. I think the guy can absolutely. He's got light tower power.
Yeah. All right.
Oh yeah, good. I'm just showing off my royal support, Dream Sport. That is my they are my number 2 team. They are my number 2 team last year. They're my number 2 team this year too.
Yeah. All right. So what happened in my background here? Like my camera's like, hold on.
Yeah, Colby Mayo's an interesting one. That's a name that's come up a few times. Again, there's a number of guys. I think Colby would be in that group. It's can they make the team? Do they make the team? And I do think there's a number of guys that are on the bubble. That's why we tend to wait to get into like rookie of the year and things like that until we get a little deeper into spring training, because then you get a better sense who's actually going to make the teams. But I think players like Dylan Cruz, Jason Dominguez, Shaw, I think those are guys that are like locks at this point to get on there. But there's so many good players that are kind of on the outside trying to get in that it'll be fun to see who makes the teams. And yeah, John, Jackson Holiday, being able to see him for a full season, I think we are very much looking forward to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because all indications are he's going to be your opening day starter. They're gonna bring him up from day one and let him play.
I mean, as they should. I mean, they thought he was going to be able to adjust quickly after the torrid pace he went through the minors, as fast as he did, and then just got to the MLB level and kind of struggled with that leap there. Sent him back down, but seemed to have been a little bit more comfortable the second time he came up. So,
well, like we talk about, people don't really appreciate the jump from AAA to Major League. Like that's like jumping to a whole nother world. It's not like jumping a level; it's jumping a whole nother world.
Yeah. Yep. But absolutely.
Yeah, the nice thing is there are just so many young, talented players in the system that are all like on the verge of making major league clubs. That be a lot of fun. It'll be a lot of fun the next couple of years watching them all come up.
You're gonna have a guy too, like I didn't know much about Jackson Merrill at the beginning of last year, and then he came up and just absolutely lit the league on fire, and we're just like, whoa, this kid's good.
Yeah, he was not well known.
No, I knew about Jackson Churio only because I saw him here in Single A and with the Carolina Mudcats, and I knew the hitting coach, and the hitting coach was like, "Yo, keep your eye on this kid. He's going to be up in the bigs like really soon." So he was fun to watch. But yeah, Jackson Merrill just kind of boom out of nowhere. So I'm sure there's going to be someone like that comes up too, that everyone's like, oh, look at this kid. So
yeah, I think pitching just a little different. Yeah. I think when you go from facing, a guy in AAA to facing a Garrett Cole or a Chris Sale or a Tariq Skubal, you're facing the best in the world. And that's why there's only so many of them.
Yeah.
I love some of the videos that are coming out from spring training, the catchers catching bullpen sessions.
Yeah.
And like, you just see what these guys throw, and it's like, who on earth hits that?
Yeah. And they're not even throwing 100% yet, which is even crazy. Like they're throwing at like 50 or 60%, maybe.
And you like just the movement on pitches, the location, the way they spot things. It's like, my goodness.
Yeah. It's wild. All right, Harrison.
Oh, jeez.
Trivia time. All right. So people in the chat that are new or haven't done this, this trivia segment is you have to tell me who the Major League Baseball player is from an AI generated picture. So I type into the chat what I want for a player, and it spits out what the what it should be. So you'll see the first one and you'll understand. So what MLB player does this picture represent?
It's Pete Rose.
It is Pete Rose. Yes, Pete Rose. Good.
Some of these can be a little wild.
Yeah. What MLB player does this picture represent?
Oh God. Oh, it's Ty Cobb.
Yes, it's Ty Cobb. Yes, Ty Cobb. Yep. All right. Ty Cobb.
John, world famous segment.
Yeah.
Nick's just having fun with ChatGPT.
What MLB player does this picture represent?
Oh boy. All right, so we got a Rose in a basketball court. Oh no, it's an arena. It's Randy Arozarena.
Yes, it's Randy Arozarena. Yes, good. Randy Arozarena. Nice. Next one. What MLB player does this picture represent?
it's a Trout on a mic, so it's Mike Trout.
Yes, it's Mike Trout. Good.
Oh man.
Good. What MLB player does this picture represent?
Oh boy. We've already had Rob Deere, so this isn't it.
No.
All right. Well, he's farming or haying or whatever that is.
Stick with the first.
Is it Buck Farmer?
It is Buck Farmer. Good. Yes, Buck Farmer.
Oh man.
Nice one. Good. What MLB player does this picture represent?
Who's the guy?
You can't see who the guy is?
Well, it's like his hand is on. Oh, is that Shaquille O'Neal?
Mm-hmm.
I say his hand's on his face. I'm like, I can't tell who it is. And where on earth is he? Is that
he's on
like a water slide in the background?
He's on. And what kind of hat is he wearing?
Oh, he's on a cruise ship. Oh, it's O'Neill Cruz.
Yes, it's O'Neill Cruz. Good.
It's a cruise ship. I'm like, why is there a water slide in the background?
Yeah. O'Neill Cruz. Good. What MLB player does this picture represent? This might be the toughest one.
Well, you got a bunch of fruits and vegetables.
So just look
at a head of lettuce.
Not lettuce, but
oh, is that cabbage?
It is cabbage.
Oh,
and what is it? What is it sitting on?
It's sitting on a tray.
Uh-huh.
Oh, is it tray cabbage?
It's tray cabbage. Yes. Good. This kid might be a stud for the Angels this year too. Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing him.
The Angels are not going to be a joke this year.
No. Agree.
The AI ones are fun because some of those are just wild.
Yep. Absolutely.
Oh,
yep.
Man.
Oh yeah, good, James.
There you go. Nice job, James.
There you go. Nice. All right. These ones might be a little bit trickier, Harrison. Fantastic. So here we go. Who is the oldest player to throw a perfect game?
Oh. I'd say Nolan, but he didn't throw one because he couldn't help but walk people. Burley wasn't that old. Randy?
It is Randy Johnson. Yes, May 18th, 2004 against the Braves. They won 2-0 at Turner Field. Second oldest to ever do it, Cy Young at 37.
Wow.
Yes, sir. All right. Who was the last starting pitcher to pitch 10 shutout innings in a single start? Hint, maybe a hint. His team lost 1-0.
Was this a playoff game?
No.
Oh, because it was like, isn't that Halladay that went like 10?
Mm-hmm.
10 innings. Wow, that's crazy to go 10 shutout innings. It wasn't Halladay. How long? Recent? This going back a ways?
Recent-ish, yeah.
Okay. Say, let's think. A guy like Maddox could have done that.
No. Stay on the National League team that Cliff. I just gave it away.
Oh,
That
is this
Roy
Cliff Lee?
Halladay. Yeah. Dang. Yep. Cliff Lee, April 18th, 2012. 10 innings pitched, no runs, 7 hits, 7 Ks, no walks. This is crazy, though.
Wow.
Matt Cain for the Giants threw 9 scoreless innings on 2 hits before being followed by 4 relievers in extra innings, and they lost 1-0.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So that must have been a pitcher's. I think I looked at the time of the game was like an hour and 47 minutes or something like that. It was
I mean, those are 2 guys that both worked fast.
Yeah.
John, I would love to have known what Cy Young was throwing at 37 years old. I mean, I would have loved to know when he had topped out at period, but
yeah.
You're probably not far off. I can't imagine how hard those guys were throwing back then.
No. All right. Harrison, who was the last starting pitcher to have a 10-inning complete game, happened against the Tigers in 2007.
Is this Roy Halladay?
This is Roy Halladay.
Okay. I was in the ballpark, just wrong game.
Yeah. April 13th, 2007. 10 innings pitched, 1 run, 6 hits, only 2 Ks, no walks. Jeremy
Bonderman, that's a name, huh?
That's why I put it in there. For the Tigers, went 9 innings, giving up 1 run. So it's just crazy that both times that these guys have gone 10 innings, the other opposing pitcher went 9, like scoreless or pretty near scoreless as well.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Jeremy Bonderman. That's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
I know. I was like, I gotta name drop this in here for sure. Yeah.
But yeah, that was so like Halladay. He'd throw like no pitches. You'd pound a ton of balls into the ground on his sinker, and he would just mow through the lineup and barely break a sweat.
Yeah. 2 Ks. Wild.
Nuts.
Okay. Which pitcher has surrendered the most home runs in White Sox history?
Guy like Burley was there a long time.
It is Mark Burley. 274 home runs surrendered.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he didn't have he had the stuff where if he missed, it was getting crushed.
Oh yeah.
Like he didn't have the blow you away fastball or the like he nibbled and had to. But his stuff was perfect for that.
Yeah. All right. Who is the only Major League Baseball player to have 500 career hits for 4 different teams?
That's a pretty impressive stat.
Yes, sir, it is.
500 career hits for 4 different teams. Is this like common era going back a ways?
This is like, it's common era, but it is like 63 to 85 was this guy's career. So, I mean, I guess a little bit older than.
Yeah. So like, because like I was thinking, like, could it be like a Frank Robinson? Could it be? But that wouldn't make sense.
So the 4 teams are Houston, Montreal, the Mets, and the Tigers.
Oh, Boggs, not a bad one. Not a bad guess, John.
Guess. That's a great guess. It's not Boggs.
That's a good guess. I mean, I think of guys that moved around a lot, Julio Franco, but that's way too late or way too soon for Julio Franco.
Yeah.
So back in that time frame, so that was like roughly Pete Rose's time frame.
Mm-hmm.
So who else in that time, in that era? Eddie Perez, Tony Perez, not Eddie, Tony.
No.
Cagliaro didn't play for that many teams.
He was a 6-time All-Star. That's about.
This is not going to be like a name that jumps out, is it?
I think when you hear it, you'll be like, "Oh yeah, I've definitely heard that name before." But this is Rusty Staub.
Oh yeah, okay.
So 2,716 career hits, so almost a member of the 3,000 hit club.
Wow.
709 hits with the Mets, 792 with the Astros, 582 with the Tigers, 531 with the Expos, and then 102 with the Rangers. So
wow, pretty good.
Yeah, pretty decent.
Yeah, not bad.
All right. Who was the last Cleveland Indians / Guardians player to win league MVP?
Oh,
And
this is gonna be going back forever.
oh yeah, quite a ways.
Oh boy. And there was not a lot of really well-known Indians players in that window of time. So
47 to 56 was his career. So not
oof.
like crazy long.
But like that's Feller's era roughly, right?
Feller might even be a little bit before that, I
Yeah, you might be right. I
think.
think he was probably more that's probably more the end of it.
This isn't my strong era of
No.
baseball trivia.
No, that's a tough gap because there was a lot of
But 1953 was the last time a Cleveland Indians won an MVP, which is
that's
crazy.
amazing.
Yeah. But this one is Al Rosen.
Oh wow.
He had a 10.2 WAR, led the league, 115 runs, led the league. All these are league leading. 4,345 RBIs, a 1.034 OPS, and a 613 slugging percentage. Crazy.
And also at 336, why not?
Yeah, no biggie.
Wow. Yeah, I was never gonna guess Al Rosen. But that's a
No.
good one. That's
But
amazing.
look,
You've got to go back 70 years to find a Cleveland
yeah.
Indians MVP.
But dude, look at the handles on those tree trunks. Look
It's
at
amazing.
the handles. It's insane. These guys swung telephone poles for sure.
Yeah, it just kills me. And like some of these guys are up there with like no batting gloves. They barely hit pine tar. It's like how did you hit with those bats? How?
Yeah. Wow. All right. This is a little bit of a thinker. But
Ooh.
since 1960, there have been 5 World Series that have ended on a walk-off hit. Can you name the players that had the series clinching hits?
I might actually know these. So let's run through them. So you had Renneria.
Yep.
Walked it off. Luis Gonzalez walked it off.
Yep. Those are your 2 most recent.
Yep. You had Mazeroski walked it off.
Yep.
Joe Carter walked it off.
Joe Carter. Yep, you got the 4.
Which one? Where's the 5th one?
This was where I was stuck too. Because you were 4 years old when it happened.
And Gibson wasn't a World Series, right?
Right. Yep, Joe Carter, Luis Gonzalez.
Yep.
Good.
Those are good ones. Who is the 5th one? I'm not coming up with a 5th one.
Twins and Braves in 91.
Twins and Braves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this one snuck up on me too.
No idea.
It is Gene Larkin.
Oh, okay.
So Mazeroski, Game 7 was obviously the home run, the very famous Game 7
shot heard around the world.
No, that was Bobby Thompson.
Oh, so it's Bobby Thompson, wrong game.
Yeah.
Same general era, but
same idea.
Yep.
Right. So Twins, Gene Larkin, Game 7 in 1991 with a single. Blue Jays, Joe Carter, Game 6, obviously, with the home run. Marlins, Edgar Renteria, Game 7 with the RBI single up the middle. And then the Diamondbacks, Luis Gonzalez with the little jam shot off the tape to get over the infield and into the outfield to beat the Yankees in 2001.
Gonzalez's bat had to have been broken and died a hero, right?
Dude, a hero? Try a legend.
There's no way that bat was in one piece when the game was over.
No way, dude. He got so sawed off on that. I don't know how he got enough muscle. Well, I mean, I might know. But how he got enough muscle to get it into the outfield. Yeah.
I'm not sure how he didn't get the thing off the fingers. I mean, that thing was way in on him.
God, man. That swing just looked painful.
It did.
And just somehow found some grass. Crazy.
Yeah, he just literally got just enough of it to drop it over the drawn-in infield.
Yeah.
And yeah, the touch 'em all Joe call, that is such a legendary call.
Mm-hmm. Greatest announcer call of all time. There's some really great ones, but I mean, that one's way up there.
That one's definitely up there.
All right, I have a few more. Who was the most recent player to hit a home run in their first at bat of their major league career? He achieved this on June 26th of 2024.
Oh, it's the Guardians guy.
It is.
Oh, what is his name? It's Big Christmas.
It is. I'll give it to you. I actually put it in there. Big Christmas, John Kensey Noel.
Yeah.
And that ball he hit in the playoffs, that was wild. I could not believe that to force that
crushed.
extra innings.
That thing had a vapor trail behind it.
And in that moment too, absolutely wild.
Yeah. Yeah, he is that dude is dangerous.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see him take another leap this year. See what he does for that Guardians lineup. See if he brings up some of the production that they lost with Naylor leaving.
Yeah, they're going to need him too because they've got to fill that gap.
Yeah.
But he is he's fun to watch. Big swings, doesn't get cheated. Low batting average, but we'll see.
Doesn't matter when you can hit a ball 600 feet. But
I mean, no, it doesn't. But is he going to be another Joey Gallo, or is he going to be like a legitimate major leaguer? Like that's what we got to find out.
Yeah. All right. Who was the most recent MLB player to hit a home run in their final career at bat?
I remember this one because his kids actually announced him. It was Stephen Vogt.
It was, yeah. That was such a cool moment.
Amazing.
When that happened. His kids get up, they announce his last at bat, and then he hits a home run at the Coliseum. Like absolutely crazy.
That if you've never seen the clip of that, it'll like give you chills.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I mean, I've never seen a guy smile so big going around the bases. Like it had to have been such a surreal moment.
Unreal. It was just so cool.
Like knowing it's your last at bat too. Like knowing like I'm not gonna get another trip to the dish. Like this is it. And then I hit a home run.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely nuts.
Such a cool moment. Such a cool clip.
Yeah. All right. Who was the most recent player to homer in their final MLB at bat of their career that happened to be in the postseason?
Interesting. Steve Pearce.
No, that's not a bad guess.
Yasiel Puig.
Also not a bad guess. You're on the right team.
So Dodgers. Who are players that have ended their career there? What about like a Sean Green moved to Toronto?
It was 2019, if that helps. And he was a catcher.
Oh, Russell Martin?
It is Russell Martin. Nice. Homer for the Dodgers in Game 3 of the 2019 NLDS and his last Major League Baseball at bat.
Huh. Yes. All right.
Crazy.
Because when he retired, that's when the whole catching tandem turned over.
Yep. All right. I believe this is the last one I have. Who was the only eventual Hall of Famer that was selected in the 1992 expansion draft by the Rockies or the Marlins?
This expansion draft was so hard because we were talking about it earlier, like the fact that so many guys got drafted and then immediately traded.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I should know this one as a pitcher.
The colors give you a hint, like they always do on all my trivia questions.
Yeah, it was a pitcher. It wasn't like a Kevin Brown. It was it was Trevor Hoffman.
It was Trevor Hoffman, yes. Yeah, he was selected in the first round at pick 8 by Florida and was later traded to San Diego later that season.
That's so weird. There's so many guys that got drafted and never played there.
Yeah. Yeah, so I went down that rabbit hole. I told you that it was gonna come back.
So they drafted him from the Padres and traded him back? No,
No.
No, it was. Oh, he did play in Florida for a little while, but not.
Yeah, it was like half a season.
Yep, and then back to San Diego. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he started in Florida, and then later that season got traded back to San Diego, or traded to San Diego,
Yeah.
where he spent basically the rest of his career.
Yep. Absolutely. So,
Can you
all
imagine like looking back and having traded away a Hall of Famer?
I mean, happens. Red Sox did it with Jeff Bagwell.
True,
Yep. It
true.
happens.
They I mean, neither one of those teams necessarily like did great on the expansion draft, but they certainly brought in some talent.
Yeah, like I said, I went down that rabbit hole, and like the Rockies did a ton of wheeling and dealing after they finished the expansion draft, and then they built that Galarraga, Bichette, like all that. That was all by trade because they turned around and like traded Bichette from Milwaukee to get him in there. There was a whole bunch of moves, so it's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
like you go on the list of like people that were picked up in that, and like there's just so many guys. You're like, who was that?
Yeah,
Like who are most of these guys?
right.
And I know like an expansion draft, like certain guys are protected. You're just trying to pick through what's left, but like the draft itself, like there was not a lot of talent that moved, but there was a ton of activity that led to stuff after the fact.
Yeah, because both teams were like, "What the hell are we supposed to do with this?"
Right. Like, what are we going to do with this group of players?
Yeah. So,
Wild.
yeah. All right, that's all I had for tonight. Do you have anything to add?
Just I think just a few things worth mentioning. We talked about earlier on the Boston show, but um, the Red Sox have been kicking the tires on Dylan Cease. Looking at seeing what the asking price might be there.
I don't think they're the only team, by the way. I think there's a lot of teams kind of checking in on the price of him.
No, I agree. I think there are lots of teams that are kicking the tires, or maybe already have kicked the tires.
Right.
So Shohei threw in the bullpen. He threw a 14 pitch bullpen session real quick. He was low to mid 90s in it. They're trying to slowly ramp him back up and let him kind of see what he's capable of. But all reports are good there. And then we've got some interesting injury news around the league. Giancarlo Stanton, elbow tendonitis. He's now uncertain for opening day. Huge surprise that the Yankees would have to deal with another Stanton injury. The Red Sox dealing with delays to Cutter Crawford and Brian Bello. Bayo's got shoulder issue. Crawford's dealing with patellar tendonitis that slowed him down. And then just the other day, Corbin Carroll got hit by a pitch in live BP and was being evaluated to see if there's any injury to his hand. He got hit right in the hand. So typical early spring training stuff, guys getting banged up, or some of these got some pitchers that are just behind schedule. And then one I thought was worth sharing is that as of right now, indications are Shane McClanahan looks good, and he is projected to be the Rays' opening day starter. Nick,
that's good because he's another guy that's almost must see TV every time he has a start because his stuff when he's on is ridiculous.
Yeah, he's so good, good. And then one last thing, some kind of, I would say, sad news coming out of, coming out of Arizona, but the former Chicago White Sox closer Bobby Jenks is battling stomach cancer. He made that public over the weekend. A guy that did not have a long career, but certainly made a big impact. Well remembered through gas.
Yeah.
But dealing with stomach cancer, so certainly the White Sox are trying to rally behind him and throw some support his way. But another ball player dealing with a health scare.
Dang, man, it's crazy. Yeah, this actually is a pretty good idea, John. I think we could actually do that one. That one wouldn't take much time. I think I could almost rattle them all off. My top 10 is all Joe Buck. So
you mean your bottom 10?
I'm kidding. Yeah, my bottom 10. Yeah. That's a great one. I think my favorite one is Here Comes the Pizza. I mean, we posted that one this week.
Oh my, that's an all-time.
The Don and Jerry Here Comes the Pizza. That wasn't a baseball call per se, but that happened during the broadcast. Hilarious. But that's a great one. Calls of all time.
Yep.
Because there's some really, really good ones.
And then one other thing, earlier in the show, we passed by it. James had brought up the kid of the Dodgers, Roki Sasaki. Roki Sasaki threw a bullpen the other day. It was either yesterday or Friday that he had like 20 players standing around watching, and they were all just like jaws dropped watching him throw. Apparently, the reports out of Dodgers camp are just basically wow, watching him throw.
Yeah. We all saw it in the WBC, and the kid was 16. I mean, come on now. I mean, we know what Sasaki is. That's why the whole league was like, well, of course he went to the Dodgers. The kid throws 103 with a splitter that drops off the table at 94. I mean, it's not it's not okay. Like, he's gonna be gross.
Yeah. So the basic reaction on the camp is basically that. It's wow. The stuff, the kid stuff's impressive. He's not even throwing full speed yet. And also Roki Sasaki came out to deny the whole fixed deal theory. It was not predetermined. It was not set up. They were always a destination I was interested in. I just wanted to make sure that I was making the right decision by going through my free agency process. And at the end of the day, it was the right fit for me. Saying all the right things, although a lot of the baseball world doesn't believe it. But I think a lot of the baseball world just is mad he didn't sign with their team.
I would have, at that point, I wouldn't have even like made a comment, even bringing that back up. Like, I had already moved on from it. Like, all right, you're a Dodger, whatever. Like, don't bring it back up, because now it looks like you're trying to sweep it underneath the rug, buddy.
Yeah.
Like, just leave it alone. Like, if you didn't do anything wrong, then don't come out and say anything. Because now you bring it back up in my head, and now I'm like, all right, he predetermined where he was going. Let's be honest. He knew he was going there.
I think a lot of players did.
Yeah, you're not going to go play with Shohei Ohtani and Yamamoto.
I have to believe that Andrew Friedman was getting phone calls from free agents that were saying, "Hey, like, do you have a spot for me?"
1,000%.
Let's be serious. There's a lot of players that were telling their agents, "Call the Dodgers, find out what the deal is," because who wouldn't want to go be part of that super team? I mean, you've basically built an all-star team in LA.
Yeah,
like it's guaranteed rings for the next few years. Like, just go.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And then lastly, I'd love to get your take on this one, Nick, before we go.
Oh, goodness.
So the Yankees came out the other day and said basically that they're working on an extension for Aaron Boone because they feel like if they didn't re-sign him, there'd be a feeding frenzy of teams that would want to sign him because he's clearly one of the top managers in baseball. Your thoughts?
I'm sorry, what? Did you?
That's what the Yankees are saying.
They said that Aaron Boone is one of the top managers in baseball.
They feel like Aaron Boone's one of the top managers in baseball, and if he was to leave New York, there would be a feeding frenzy of teams waiting to sign him.
I'm speechless. Listen. I'm not in the clubhouse, and what I hear is like he is connected to his players, right? Yes. Which is what you want a manager to be. His on-field management is horrendous.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would say there would be a feeding frenzy. That's a little much for me to kind of get behind. I don't know. You threw me for a loop there. I didn't.
Yeah, I know. I knew. That's why I went to the end to drop it on you. But
my God,
Cashman said today that their goal is they'd like to announce it before the 2025 season starts because they feel it's important that they make their commitment to Aaron Boone before the season begins.
I thought he should have been gone 3 years ago, and I've been saying
they should have fired him for years. I agree.
It's not me being a Red Sox homer and hating the Yankees. It's like that is completely aside. Like, looking at his body of work, and I think a lot of Yankees fans would agree, is he does not manage in game very well. Does he go to bat for his players? 100%. He's the first guy out of the dugout as soon as there's a bad call. He's always there for his players. That part I have no issue with, but his in-game on the field management is terrible. Look at him putting in Oswaldo Cabrera in at that point in the World Series. Like, what are we doing?
The guy doesn't even play second base, and then can't make the play.
I mean, granted, it all started when your superstar dropped the ball in center field. It kind of imploded. but
Yeah.
it's his in-game management is not even close to top of the league.
Right.
It's bad. His manager WAR would be about league level, maybe.
Yeah, he's an average manager at best, who looks good because he's had good players.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure that a goldfish could manage the Yankees to probably a playoff spot, but I found that funny that they're making this big deal out of having to ball wash Aaron Boone before they extend him, almost like they're trying to like prepare the fans for like what's coming, because I don't think that's going to be a super popular move in the world of the Yankees. I'd love to hear from a Yankees fan that likes him. I know a lot of Yankees fans. Of course, living in New England, they're all mixed in. Some people just aren't born with taste, and I don't know a single one of them likes Aaron Boone. They all think he's a clown. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
It's crazy that they're talking the extension. That's
Yeah.
nuts.
And then late breaking news: Buck Farmer, who was on the show earlier, has been signed to a minor league contract by the Braves. Look at that.
Nice.
You put him on the show and he got a contract.
Nice. Now, if only I can come up with some Hall of Fame relievers for the Red Sox to sign in my next one.
That would be terrific.
Yeah. But all right. Anything else?
That's it. We keep getting closer and closer. The deadline for teams is or for players is, I want to say, Wednesday of this week. I think everybody's got to be in camp. So
Yeah.
coming up.
Yeah. John. Yeah. Joe Buck, Tom Brenneman, probably top 5 for sure. But
honestly, like Joe Buck has like, he's been the voice of so many like huge moments.
It's terrible. I hate it.
That you just can't get away from it.
Yeah.
Like when I think of like all the big World Series moments and all that, like it's always his voice, and it, like, love it or not, like he's ingrained in your memories, Nick. You're welcome. Well, I think we lost Nick. So with that, we're going to wrap up and call it a show. We will see you all next Sunday at 8:00. If not sooner, we might be on Thursday. Keep your eyes on the page